The fluorescent lights in the bullpen buzz at a frequency that gives you a migraine. It is 3:14 a.m. on a Sunday. You are 23 years old. You graduated magna cum laude from an Ivy League university. You have a degree in finance. You currently live on a diet of Adderall, stale delivery food, and black coffee. You are a first-year analyst at a massive private equity firm in New York City. You do not build things. You do not create products. You move numbers on a screen. You are staring at a massive Excel spreadsheet. It is a leveraged buyout model. The target is a 60-year-old manufacturing company in Ohio. They make industrial air conditioners. They employ 800 people. You have never been to Ohio. You have never touched an industrial air conditioner. To you, this company is not a legacy. It is not a community hub. It is a collection of cash flows and redundant expenses. Your managing director wants a 20% internal rate of return. The math currently shows 16%. You need to bridge the gap. You highlight a RAW labeled employee benefits. You reduce the number by 40%. You highlight a RAW labeled research and development. You delete it completely. You change the capital expenditure projections. The internal rate of return jumps to 21%. You save the file. You send the email. You close your laptop. You walk out into the empty city streets. You do not think about the 800 people in Ohio. You do not think about their families. You only think about your end-of-year bonus. The system does not reward creation. It rewards extraction. 3 years later, you are an associate. You are 26 years old. You are no longer just building models in a dark room. You are implementing them. The firm bought the manufacturing company in Ohio. They used 20% of their own money and borrowed the remaining 80%. The debt was placed entirely on the manufacturing company's balance sheet. Your firm takes the profit. The company takes the risk. It is a perfectly legal mechanism. It is called a leveraged buyout. You fly to Ohio on a commercial jet. You wear a custom-tailored suit that costs more than a line worker makes in a month. You sit in a boardroom with the founders. They are in their 60s. They look tired. They think you are there to help them grow. You are not there to help them grow. You are there to enforce the spreadsheet. You hand them a restructuring plan. It requires firing 150 workers immediately. It requires cutting the health insurance match. It requires freezing the pension fund. The founders push back. They talk about loyalty. They talk about the community. You look at them with complete neutrality. You explain that loyalty does not satisfy debt covenants. You explain that the new interest payments require immediate liquidity. You speak in calm, measured financial terms. You use words like synergy, optimization, and right-sizing. You do not use the word firing. The founders eventually sign the papers. They have no choice. Your firm controls the board. You fly back to New York the same evening. You drink a glass of bourbon in the airport lounge. You are optimizing a distressed asset. You are doing your job. The company is now lean. It is also bleeding. You are 31 years old. You are a vice president. You are no longer managing the execution. You are hunting for the targets. You spend your days looking for weakness. You look for beloved American brands with lazy management and real estate assets. You find a regional chain of family grocery stores in the Midwest. They have 40 locations. They have been operating for 50 years. The community loves them. The margins are thin, but the cash flow is steady. More importantly, they own the land under their stores. They own the warehouses. They have zero debt. To a private equity firm, a company with zero debt is an unexploited resource. It is money left on the table. You pitch the acquisition to the investment committee. You do not pitch a plan to sell more groceries. You pitch a real estate play. The committee approves the deal. You orchestrate the buyout. The day the deal closes, the grocery chain is suddenly saddled with $400 million in high-yield debt. The interest payments alone consume 90% of their operating profit. The grocery chain did not need this money. They did not use it to build new stores. The borrowed money was used to pay your private equity firm a special dividend. The industry calls it a dividend recapitalization. You took out a mortgage on their house and you kept the cash. The grocery stores now have to stock cheaper products to survive. They have to cut employee hours. The quality drops. The customers start to complain. You do not care about the customers. Your firm has already recouped its initial investment. You are playing with house money. Everything from this point forward is pure profit. You are 36 years old. You are a principal. You are the architect of the extraction. The grocery chain is struggling under the weight of the $400 million debt. They cannot afford to fix broken refrigerators. They cannot afford to hire enough cashiers. The lines are long. The stores look depressed. The management team begs you for capital to renovate. You deny the request. Instead, you execute the second phase of the playbook. You force the grocery chain to sell all 40 pieces of real estate they own. The land, the buildings, the distribution centers. You sell them to a real estate investment trust. The grocery chain receives a massive influx of cash from the sale, but they do not get to keep it. You use that cash to pay out another massive dividend to your private equity firm. The grocery chain no longer owns its stores. They now have to pay rent on the buildings they used to own free and clear. The rent is exorbitant. The financial maneuver is called a sale-leaseback. On paper, it unlocks trapped capital. In reality, it is a fatal blow. The grocery chain now has massive debt payments and massive rent payments. The math is terminal. They will inevitably fail. It is only a matter of time. You know this. You planned for this. You receive a $2.5 million bonus at the end of the year. You buy a summer house in the Hamptons. You sit by the pool and read the Wall Street Journal. You read an article about the decline of traditional retail. You shake your head. You tell your friends that Amazon is killing brick and mortar. You do not mention the sale-leaseback. You do not mention the debt. You control the narrative. You are 42 years old. You are a managing director. The grocery chain finally breaks. They cannot make the interest payments. They cannot make the rent payments. They file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The media covers the story. They interview crying employees who have worked there for 20 years. They talk about the death of a beloved local institution. The suppliers are left unpaid. The vendors lose millions. The community loses a staple. 12,000 workers lose their jobs. Their severance packages are canceled. Their pensions are severely underfunded. The bankruptcy court takes over. The assets are liquidated. The shelves are sold for scrap metal. The name is sold to a holding company. The grocery chain ceases to exist. But your private equity firm does not lose. You do not file for bankruptcy. You are insulated. Between the management fees, the initial dividend recapitalization, and the sale-leaseback proceeds, your firm made a 400% return on its investment. The destruction of the company was highly profitable. You did not fail. The model worked exactly as intended. You sit in a corner office with a view of Central Park. You are looking at a new pitch deck. It is a chain of nursing homes. They have a lot of real estate. They have zero debt. The cycle begins again. You do not see patients. You do not see nurses. You see cash flows. You see trapped capital. You see the next extraction. The machine is hungry. You are the one who feeds it. You are 50 years old. You are a partner. You sit on the investment committee. You make the final decisions. You oversee a portfolio of 60 companies, hospitals, pet stores, local newspapers, emergency rooms. You apply the same model to all of them. Buy, load with debt. Strip the assets, extract the dividends, discard the shell. You are a master of financial engineering. You are universally respected in your industry. You are feared everywhere else. A local newspaper chain in the Rust Belt is acquired by your firm. You install a new CEO. You order him to cut the editorial staff by 60%. You sell the historic printing presses. You sell the downtown headquarters building. The community loses its local reporting. City council meetings go unmonitored. Local corruption goes unchecked. The fabric of the town slowly unwinds, but the profit margins on the remaining skeleton crew are incredibly high. You generate a 35% return for your institutional investors. The public pension funds, the university endowments, they praise your yields. They do not ask how the sausage is made. They only care about the returns. You are a fiduciary. You are legally obligated to maximize those returns. You tell yourself you are making the economy more efficient. You tell yourself that creative destruction is the engine of capitalism. You use academic theories to justify the wreckage. You donate a new wing to your alma mater's business school. Your name is carved into the marble. You are a philanthropist. You are a pillar of society. You do not see the irony. You are 60 years old. You are a senior partner. You do not deal with individual companies anymore. You deal with the macroeconomic environment. You deal with the lawmakers. The government is starting to ask questions. Politicians are giving speeches about the predatory nature of private equity. They are threatening to close the carried interest loophole. The loophole is the foundation of your wealth. It allows you to classify your massive profits as capital, gains instead of ordinary income. It means you pay a lower tax rate than the janitor who cleans your office building. You cannot allow the loophole to close. You fly to Washington, D.C. on a private jet. You do not meet with the politicians who give the angry speeches. You meet with the quiet ones who write the actual tax codes. You host a private fundraiser at a steakhouse in Georgetown. You bundle $5 million in campaign contributions. You hire former senators as highly paid consultants for your firm. You fund think tanks to publish white papers about how private equity creates jobs. The lobbying is relentless. It is sophisticated. It works. The tax reform bill passes. The carried interest loophole remains untouched. You protect your billions. You fly back to New York. You look out the window of your jet at the patchwork of American cities below. You own pieces of all of them. You dictate the terms of their survival. You are no longer just a participant in the economy. You are the landlord. and everyone else is just renting space. You are 72 years old. You are the founder, the apex. You are a billionaire many times over. You manage 500 billion in assets. You own emergency rooms where doctors are penalized for spending too much time with patients. You own veterinary clinics that push unnecessary surgeries to hit quarterly quotas. You own housing developments where rents are raised relentlessly. You are everywhere, but your name is nowhere. You operate in the shadows of the free market. You attend global economic forums. You drink champagne with heads of state.